I mean, first and foremost, I'm far from the first person to do this, but I gotta congratulate you, man. History making in so many ways. Have you come down from the high yet? How are you doing right now?
Thank you so much. I have no idea. I feel like everything feels like a dream right now. Like the last 100 days, I feel like I was in an alternate reality, and I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what's happening. I'm still in shock. I never expected to get that far in the game and to let alone win it. So I'm in shock, but I'm definitely on a high right now. Like I'm so grateful for the whole experience.
I mean, you talk about being in shock. How shocked were you by the outcome? Because I mean, man, you were spitting fire in that Q&A, in that speech to the jurors, and I'm sure there was a part of you that was like, I don't know, am I pushing too far? How surprised were you by the ultimate outcome? Were there certain votes that you thought you'd get that you didn't, or you did?
You know, with the speeches, I knew that I was going to advocate for myself, and I was just going to be passionately who I am. And so I didn't know how the jury would receive it, but all I could do is own up to my game that I played. Right, I didn't want to shy away from that, and so I didn't know how the votes would go. The one vote that I was shocked and relieved and so happy to get was Bowie Jane's vote. Obviously, I had just evicted her, and we had gotten very close, over the last few weeks, and so that was the one vote that I was really hoping to get, and I was really happy when I found out that she voted for me.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that one decision as well as the one that came before it. Because listen, you at the final four and final three had this important decision to make. As you said, you were the
Yeah,
single hand right here, and multiple times you could take out arguably the harder opponent in Matt,
yeah.
or you could choose to honor this deal you made with the Minutemen. I'm super curious because we saw you on the feed seemingly come really close at Final Four, but how close were you really to evicting Matt at either Final Four or Final Three?
Yeah, I'm someone that I will walk through every option. I will analyze it all the way down to the core, even if I'm not serious about doing it. And so, it's true. This is a huge decision, and I truly felt like Matt would beat me in the final two. And
Hmm.
so that's why there was so much weight to that decision. And, I talked through a lot of that with Bowie Jane as well. And a part of that was also to build trust with her, so that to ensure that she would take me, if she won the final HOH too. So um, for me, what it came down to is playing my game and staying true to who I am. I wanted to make a decision where I could hold my head up high. I would be proud of how I played my game. My family would be proud of me. Hopefully, my community is proud of me. That's what mattered more to me. And so I was not going to turn my back on Matt, who didn't turn his back on me. If he saved me, I'm in this game because of him. And I made a pact with him that I was going to go to the very end, till the very last minutes with him. And I wanted to honor that.
So you talk about staying true to yourself. And I know on the way out, when you stepped out of the house, you talked about playing with honesty and integrity. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, a couple things you had mentioned the past couple of weeks about how you had felt at a certain point that you and Bowie and Matt were the only quote unquote good people in the house this season. You had said at one point that you felt Sari and Jared and Felicia were bullying you. I'm just really intrigued. What's your POV in that? What made you decide to come to that conclusion about the people you were playing with?
Like especially at the beginning of this game, I was in an alliance that I was very loyal to, and I felt as though my name was getting floated around, um, in negative ways. Like Jag can't be trusted. He's a liar. At least that's what I heard. I don't know what
Hmm.
actually happened. And so I definitely was put into a space again that I felt, that I was being bullied in some sense. Like maybe not the capital B bullied, but in a sense, like I felt that way where it was like, if I talked to someone outside of my alliance, I was, you know, being asked like, why are you talking to them? If I talk to my alliance too much, they're getting sus. They'd say, don't talk to me. And so there was a lot of that going on. In no way do I think they are bad people. No one in the house is a bad person at all. For me, what I do is I separate personal from game a lot. And
Hmm.
so for me, in a game sense, obviously there are people I couldn't work with. Obviously, they made me feel as though I was excluded, and I was. Like in this game, you have to choose who you're going to work with and who not to. On a personal level, I love every single house guest. Like I have made such beautiful relationships with everyone, and that is what matters to me the most. So
Mm.
yeah, game and personal is very different for me.
I mean, does that apply to that, one-time pressure cracker situation as well? Because you could argue that was a time where game and personal got mixed a bit when you were coming up with that plan.
Could you explain that more?
Sure, the idea that you were going to, sort of rile up Felicia, keeping her up with pots and pans, having her do crazy things, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we're trying to come up with like different strategies and stuff, like how to make it past. I think that one did get out of hand for sure. I'll own up to that. That was, the whole pots and pans thing, like that was a joke. That's not something that ever was going to happen, or that I ever wanted to happen truly. But like, I'll own up to that. Like, that's not, I think, true to who I am or my character or how I wanted to play the game. And so, there are definitely moments where I think I wasn't the best reflection of who I am, and so, that's definitely a moment like that. So I'm not ever going to claim to be a perfect person. I don't think anyone truly is. And yeah, all I could do is play the game at the end of the day where I was, true to myself and felt
Mm.
like I would be, proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about who you are and what you represent, I mean, you come at the end of this having made so many names for yourself, first sick house guest and first winner, as you put out there, most competitions won in a single season, first house guest to get evicted and come back and win. I mean, it's a milestone season, and I feel like it's a milestone win in those ways. How do you look back on already the impact that you think you maybe have made in the Big Brother timeline, in the Big Brother multiverse, if you will, and what that says about house guests moving forward?
I mean, the most important thing to me was to play the game in a way that stayed true to who I am. So hopefully it shows others that they can do that as well. And they can play the game in a way that's loyal and it can take them to the end. That was something that was pivotal, um, or that was something that was key to how I played the game. In terms of like most competitions won, that was honestly a byproduct of the game I was playing. Like I am not like I don't know how many competitions is the most competitions won. I'm not a super fan. Like I didn't study that aspect of Big Brother. I just felt like I really wanted to play and I thought I could do well. And so the goal wasn't to, break the record because I didn't know what the record was. I was literally just fighting for my life. Like every time I was going into this competition, every competition, I knew like I had to win to keep myself safe, to keep my allies safe, and to move forward in the game. And so
Mm.
um, I think everything just happened the way it happened, and it's cool now to like look back and be like, oh yeah, like I'm the first one to win after getting evicted, or like, I got the most confidence. But like in the moment, I was not thinking all of that. I was just like, how do I get past this week? What's the best way to do that? How do I win this competition? Like, how do I protect my people?